It's your fault the Acolyte was canceled, according to the star of the show, so I want to thank you all for that. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. Man, for a canceled show, the Acolyte just won't go away. From the online petition that essentially says, please bring this show back, we promise we'll watch this time, to non-stop fan-blaming hissy fits on social media, Leslye Headland's brainchild just won't die. Well, that's not accurate. It's dead and buried. But a bunch of people who didn't actually watch it are trying desperately to pretend like they did in an attempt to either bring it back at best or just making an excuse to scream into the void at people they deem problematic at worst. But Marv, you might ask, how do you know these people didn't watch The Acolyte? Well, it's the same way I know that all the Restore the Snyderverse morons didn't actually buy tickets to those movies. If all those people had actually supported the property, it wouldn't have gotten canceled. Because hear me and hear me well, denizens of Tooney Town, Disney does not give one far-flung flying fignola about what I say, what you say, what Nerdrotic says, what The Critical Drinker says, what Mr. H says, what Star Wars Theory says, what Az says, what Culture Casino says, or what Pro says. What they care about is, did this product bring in money? And in the case of The Acolyte, no, it didn't. Disney spent $180 million on this thing. That's $180 million that they have to justify to shareholders when they look at the numbers and see the lack of return through the black hole of financial doom that is Disney Plus. It's called a return on investment. Money in versus money out. Unfortunately, it seems as though no one has ever explained this concept to the Acolyte star and muse for the title So You Think You Can Dance, Amandla Stenberg, or as we like to call her, Amandla Sameface, mostly because her acting consists of her making the exact same face in every scene. While Leslye has been oddly quiet about all this since news of the show's cancellation broke, Amanda ran her mouth off on social media in yet another ranting, self-absorbed, tone-deaf video that rails against Star Wars fans and blames them for the show's utter failure. Let's see what she of the singular facial expression has to say today on Tooneytown TV. All right, Amandla Stenberg, Amandla Sameface, confirms The Acolyte is canceled and proceeds to blame a rampage of hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, making it political, of course. This article is by John F. Trent, the editor-in-chief at that puck place, and there she is right now, looking happy, sad, pensive, hungry, thirsty, frustrated. I don't know. She makes the same face every single time. Amandla Stenberg, the actress who played May and Osha in The Acolyte, confirmed that the show was canceled and proceeded to blame a rampage of hyperconservative bigotry and vitriol for why the show was canceled. Here she is again, looking enraged or sad, love-stricken. I don't know. In a video uploaded to her Instagram stories, she stated, a Star Wars show has been canceled. And I'm going to be transparent and say it's not a huge shock for me. Me neither. Because, good Lord, I've been calling this since the first episode of it. The second I saw this, I was like, if this gets to season 2, I will eat my hat. Not that I have a hat. I would first have to buy a hat, and then I would have to eat it. Of course, I live in the bubble of my own reality, but for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept and no one had even seen it. That's when we started experiencing a rampage of hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language toward us. Hold on, let's see. She used vitriol twice, I believe. She used rampage several times. Just, it's just word salad, guys. It's just like she has no idea how to talk to people. She has no idea how to talk, period. And let's make one thing perfectly clear. Before this show was announced, all we were told about it was that this was going to be for, this was going to be gay, this was going to be female, it was good. Like, all we were told about it was the social things. So the people that are tired of all the social things in Star Wars, all the politics in Star Wars, the identity politics in Star Wars, they're the ones who were like, no, we don't want this. We don't want Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant or this activist actress on our TV screens. And you know what? Fans have a right to say that. It doesn't make them bigoted. It doesn't make them prejudiced. The hateful language you're talking about is just people saying they didn't want this show. And by the way, it also certainly doesn't make them conservative or liberal or anything remotely political. It's all about your taste in entertainment, and that has nothing to do with who you think should govern a country. Next, she said, and this really affected me when I first got the job, because it's not just something, even though I anticipated it happening, it's not something you can fully understand what it feels like until it's happening to you. However, I feel I've kind of moved through those feelings in various ways, including being very vocal about it myself. For me, it's just become a situation where there was no option but for me to honor my sense of ethics and my belief system and my value system while being in this very unique position. Ugh. What exactly is Amandla Stenberg's belief system and her value system? I would very much like to see that as a mission statement of some sort on the plan of her life. Kind of like I had this very unique experience of experiencing the world at large. You had a very unique experience of experiencing the world. That's not a unique experience, Amandla. We all experience the world at large. Which is of course the hype, which is of course hyper divisive right now through the lens of this very unique opportunity of being in Star Wars, she elaborated. And it brought up a lot for me, a lot of socio-political dynamics, a lot about my own value system, again with a value system, how I respond to that kind of hatred, how I move through the world at large. And it just became inarguable for me at a certain point that in order to continue to be myself, I would have to honor my value system by being vocal, even within the context of working for Disney within the large, massive IP that is Star Wars. I honestly, for the life of me, have no idea what she's saying here. Is she trying to say that she couldn't talk about it, or that she said that she needed to make her voice heard, even though Disney was somehow silencing her? Because I'm going to tell you right now, folks, if you think Disney and Lucasfilm didn't know about her diss track coming out, they were trying to galvanize people around this show. They were trying to hold her up as some kind of freedom fighter. On that topic, I just have to say it has been an incredible honor and dream for me to be in this universe, Star Wars as a Galaxy. It still feels, even though, of course, I'm very sad about the show being canceled, and I'm sad about us not being able to give people who are vested into it, that's all right, no one's vested into it more, because I just feel a lot of levity and joy around the fact that I got to experience it, that people loved it, and that people were so responsive. I poured through a lot of different iterations of fan art and ship art and fan theories and things that were just so beautiful and filled my heart with joy. And I just want to let those people know out there who supported us. I got to go back to that. This is utterly self centered, this entire statement. Just everything that she says is about herself and her own perspective and her own experiences. She is just utterly in love with herself and the sound of her own voice. And I just want to let those people know out there who supported us in that way and supported us vocally in the face of all the vitriol that we received and the kind of targeted attack I would say we received by the alt-right. That is a statement right there, calling people that don't like the show the alt-right. That, oh boy, that is a loaded statement, Amandla. That is a lot of there's a lot of lumping people in with things that maybe they're not a part of. Not cool, lady. Not cool. Just that you were deeply loved and appreciated, and it made this job all the worthwhile for me. Did you mean all the more worthwhile? I don't know. She doesn't know how to talk. And John, good on John Trent for not cleaning up her quotes, for just printing them as she said them, because it makes her look like the idiot that she is. And it made all of the challenging elements of it completely worthwhile for me. Plus, my love of sci-fi and fantasy and being able to be a part of the legacy of something that I so deeply value and something that means so much to me and I've looked up to for so long. Yeah, I'm sure you're a huge Star Wars fan, Amandla. From there, she thanked Lucasfilm. I also want to say thank you to Lucasfilm for just being an effing awesome team. They were so wonderful to work with. Just everybody I worked with in Lucasfilm, particularly Rain Roberts, my producer, was just had such vision and hope and like a mission for what we were going to continue bringing into the sci-fi universe, into the Star Wars universe. It was really a beautiful, energizing, life-changing experience to be a part of. Next, Stenberg thanks showrunner Leslye Headland, and I have to thank Leslye Headland. I just effing love that bee. She's just one of the best people in the world. I think she's so incredibly talented and unique and kind, and I'll love her forever, and I will love this experience with her forever. But at the end of the day, I just want to thank everybody who watched it. Thank you for being so loving and supporting and exciting and nerdy and awesome. And I'll continue to process this for a long time. If you guys notice, I'm emphasizing every I, me, and my because I want to make a point here at the end. She then started uncontrollably laughing and paraphrased Vice President Kamala Harris. But maybe the last thing I want to say on this subject is that we all exist in the context in all of which we live. What? After collecting it, because she was cackling like the Joker, basically. But I'm serious. It's not lost on me how the way that these events have unfolded is also due to the hyper divisive of the time that we the hyper divisive of the time that we live in, that is driven, I would say at this point, by echo chambers of thought and algorithms that reinforce our biases. And I think that applies to everybody. But I think in a particular sect of people, it manifests a lot of fear for what is changing and a lot of hatred for what is other. for what is other? Get over yourself, lady. Also, just, echo chambers and algorithms. She's calling out YouTubers there. She's calling out channels like this one. That's ridiculous. We're just fans who are voicing our opinions, our subjective opinions on entertainment, and you can't handle it because it breaks your internal belief system that you are entitled to be famous, that you are entitled to be on television, that you are entitled to be in movies, you are entitled to be rich. All of this stuff comes from trying to serve the audience, typically. I mean, not for you. You were born rich because you have rich parents, but whatever. And I would challenge us all and challenge myself to continue questioning what it is that I digest and think critically about what shapes it. Let's vote, y'all. Let's vote. Let's vote. I think that's all I have to say. So she ends it with a call to vote. She ends it with calling on a political statement. That's just kind of weird that you go from talking about Star Wars to talking about politics. But then again, Mark Hamill does it, so why not Amandla Stenberg? All right, so real quick, I wanted to point out. So let's see how many times she uses. I'm going to do a quick search here, through Google. How many times does she use the phrase "I"? 49 times she says "I" in this. How many times does she say the word "me"? She says "me" 16 times. She says my 27 times. This is just ridiculously self-centered. She is an absolute egotist. She has no sense of anyone but herself. She is absolutely out of control. So what do you guys think? What do you make of Amandla Stenberg lumping you all in with one particular group of people? Are you comfortable with that? Are you not comfortable with that? How do you think Disney is going to respond? Are they going to respond? Let us know what you think about the Acolyte's cancellation. Sound off in the comments. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys because this is not an echo chamber. I want to hear it all. So let's hear it. I don't blame Amandla Stenberg for not understanding basic business principles like money in versus money out. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She's never had to want for anything in her life, which might confuse you since her diss track made it sound as though she's been some kind of oppressed victim forever. But here's the real kicker, same face. The people I mentioned earlier in this video, me, Nerdrotic, Drinker, Az, Theory, Mr. H, Culture, and Pro, we all actually watched every episode of this wretched dung pile. We were the actual audience watching. The people screeching online behind their bio pronouns and their multiple flags are the ones who didn't watch. The people you were pandering to are the ones who were so ambivalent about the project that they ignored it and left it to decay in a vacuum. Of course, their lack of anything resembling passion for the project only changed when it got taken away and they saw it as an excuse to wring their hands and scream to the heavens about the evil, terrible haters who stole this beautiful thing from them. In other words, you didn't give them anything they wanted with the show, but in the show's cancellation, you gave them exactly what they always want, the ability to call themselves victims. Now, in a lot of ways, Amandla Stenberg is the target audience of The Acolyte. She used the cancellation of the show to scream at people she doesn't agree with socially and politically and turn that into some kind of weird politics talking point. Now, we don't get into politics on Tooney Town channels ever, and if anyone ever tries to, I shut it down. That's because your taste in entertainment doesn't say anything about who you believe should govern a country. No one knows my political beliefs, and if I can help it, no one ever will, because it's my business. And even if you disagree with me politically, I would never hold that against you, because your politics are your business. The Acolyte was canceled because the audience it was made for never showed up. It had nothing to do with the left or the right. It had everything to do with up and down. They needed the numbers to go up, but instead they went down. Thanks for joining us today. We announced last week that on Thursday, September 5th, we're offering Tooneytown TV channel memberships, where you can get access to exclusive emojis, member-exclusive content, weekly exclusive live streams, and you'll even have the ability to come on a live stream with me and get your grievances out with Hollywood. Also, I hope you'll join us on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. EST for Tooney Talk TV, a live stream pop culture podcast where you can join in the conversation live and make your voice heard as part of the Tooneytown community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooneytown channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!